Curious, were you? Clearly, this is a golf video game. You can tell from the title. It's a golf video game called Golf. It's just called Golf. SnakeOfBacon presents Golf. Well then, Golf was developed by Sabec and released in 2020 for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. It is a self-described open-world 18-hole golf simulator game. You play golf on a golf course with golf clubs. This makes sense. If you need help with how to play, there's a help section with the controls in it. From there on, you are on your own. Like most golf games, or artillery games, it all boils down to problem solving and trial and error. Through inductive reasoning, I can say I didn't hit the ball hard enough to go over the river, so hitting it harder should work. The help section mentioned camera controls. Here they are. That's zoomed out, and that's zoomed back in again. I haven't really found much use for that, but that's alright. The help page didn't mention that you could hold X to change the impact point on the ball, although that is on screen most of the time. As you can see here, hitting the ball lower with about the same amount of power made it go much higher in the air and over the river, which is good. On a later hole that is also close to the river, I found out that the ball could roll uphill and park halfway up. That's new to me. I don't think I've ever played a golf shot from halfway up a rocky hill before. They usually roll down. Of course, this is an open world golf game. If your ball should happen to land in a gap in a small mountain, you play from there. Nothing is out of bounds except the water. I don't have much experience playing golf out of a crater, so this was new to me. Good thing I have a mini-map to tell me where the hole is because I cannot see. I probably should have used the zoom out button. Camera controls have a use after all. And so, after 40 odd minutes, I'd finished the game's one and only course, with a score of 157, or 86 over par. Probably not very good. After you see your score, that's it. You go back to the title screen, your score is not saved, you unlock nothing. There is a trophy for completing a game. I can't seem to make it work. I've played several rounds of golf. Speaking of trophies, here's one that does work properly. The first time you complete your first hole in golf, you get a bronze trophy called Golf, with a picture that also has the word golf on it, just so you know it's golf. It is definitely golf. Some sort of name or adjective wouldn't have gone astray, though. Oh hey, when you're at the shop, can you get me some more of those biscuits I like? Yeah, which ones? They're just called biscuits. What flavour are they? Sweet or savoury? Wafer? Chocolate? Square? Rectangle? I don't know. The box just says biscuits. What do they taste like? Biscuit. So I played it again a couple times, not to check that it was golf, I could tell that much, but just for recreational self-improvement. Also, can you hear that wood pigeon? You probably need headphones to hear the wood pigeon, but there's plenty of birds in the ambient audio of golf, which is pretty nice. What's confusing me is why I'm so familiar with the sounds of wood pigeons, when all I can find on the internet is that they live in Western Europe, not the western suburbs of Sydney, and that Britain only gave Australia the common feral pigeon, not the big wood pigeon. But I know that sound. I'm sure I've heard it in nature, not just in films and TV, but I don't know. Maybe there's another native species that sounds similar. Anyway, enough about pigeons. The power bar in golf is quite unusual in that between the bottom and the top, there are 8 small markings and 1 major marking between the 4th and the 5th. It's divided into ninths with a halfway marker. Why? Why? Most people think of power as a decimal or a percentage, right? That's why most power bars have 4 or 10 markings. So you go 25, 50, 75, 100, or 10, 20, 30, not 11, 22, 33, 44, 50, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99. Why? Why would you do this, developer of golf? Why ninths? I'm not angry, I'm just totally confused and bewildered. Was it just a stylistic decision? Much like the holes being heptagons? And that's a weird one. Have you ever seen a heptagon be used for anything? No. You learn the name and then hexagons and octagons are everywhere. Heptagons have served no purpose until now because they are too hard to draw. While we're talking about useless shapes, how about the little arrowhead used for aiming at the top middle of the screen? The more you play this game, the more you'll notice that it's actually not for aiming at all, it's just to show you where the middle of your TV is. Because often the ball will go a little bit to the right, and just as often the ball will go a little bit to the left. And just for good measure, some putts go exactly straight down the middle towards the arrowhead. Other times, the arrowhead is nowhere near where the ball is being aimed. From what I can tell, there's a very loose relationship between the camera and the club. You really have to look at where the back of the club is pointing to know where the ball's really going to go. Or, conveniently, I've discovered that if you don't move from your initial position and just take a strong drive, it is always pointed at the hole, no matter what the camera appears to show you. I should also note, this is 2-player mode, and player 2 wears the exact same blue shirt as player 1, even though a red-shirted golfer appears on the thumbnail for the game. There's a golf buggy in that picture too, but this golfer here doesn't drive, or walk, or install microwave ovens, as his appearance may lead you to believe. He teleports everywhere. You can explore this game by just putting your way around the course, forgetting the objective of the game and just hitting the ball wherever you want to go, but you can't do anything when you get to a honestly massive golf buggy. You can clip through it, you can't drive it, you can't even putt the ball under it because the hitbox extends to the floor. How boring. I want to go to the clubhouse over there. I want to get myself a chicken palmy, but the clubhouse isn't open. There's just a featureless black void where the open door appears to be. I can stand in the clubhouse, but clearly no one works at this golfing facility. In my second full round, I improved my score to 109, and in my third round, 107. But what progress did I really make? Perhaps the game isn't about progress, apart from progressively getting better at golf. Thanks to the way the ball just keeps rolling and rolling like Limp Bizkit, I made it so far to the end of this hole, which is a par 5, that I very nearly got myself an albatross. Of course my putting let me down, so an eagle. But there are no messages for bogeys or birdies or eagles, you just get hole number complete. There's all sorts of oddities. You can hit the ball before the camera arrives at your player to get some interesting angles. From these angles you can appreciate the flat-shaded low-poly world. I'm a sucker for this sort of 3D art style, and I really like that the sky also gradually changes to a sort of starry twilight sky. It doesn't get completely dark or it would be too hard to play golf. Not that it's easy to start with, as already mentioned. The floaty camera and unusual physics make it a difficult game to master. And when you do master it, if there is such a thing possible, then what can you do? There's a trophy for a hole-in-one. I don't know. Can I recommend golf as a challenge for the golf game enthusiast who thinks they've played everything? Yeah, well, you haven't played golf yet. Or maybe you've played golf for the Atari 2600 or golf for the NES. Maybe you find it odd that a golf game is just called golf, even though such conventions of naming a game directly after a sport with no adjective ended decades ago. Sabec have other games with generic titles, a bowling game called Bowling, a survival game called Survival, hunting game called Hunt, even a fighting game called Fight. I haven't played any of these other Sabec games, so I don't know what to compare golf to. I would have difficulty comparing this to any other golf game. It's just unquantifiable. Would I recommend golf? A hash brown would be good right now, but that doesn't help. The question was, would I recommend golf? Which is a yes-no question. My answer then is moo. Not applicable. Unask the question. Decide for yourself, based on what you have seen and what you feel, whether you want to play golf. It has one 18-hole course that will take you about 40 minutes to complete. It costs about $10. I got it on sale for a bit less. It has 6 trophies, and 2 of them appear to be glitched. Does that mean it's a bad game? I had some fun in it. Do good and bad games even exist? I'm a reviewer, but who am I to arbitrate whether golf fits into category good or category bad? How can I even place it on a sliding scale between good and bad? It's golf, and the good and bad ends of the scale do not exist. I'm placing golf on an imaginary line. See, this is why I don't do number scores. I refuse to place golf on the line, number or quality-wise. There is no line. The line does not exist. There is only golf. I exist, and golf exists. If you're watching the video, you must exist. This is the core of my argument against solipsism. You can't be the only mind that exists because my mind reviewed golf. Though I don't have an argument for my mind being the only one that exists, and I wasn't even talking about solipsism, I was trying to talk about non-dualism and dualism, and the non-dualism of dualism and non-dualism, even though there's only those 2 things. Or is there? Golf. Moo.